Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Mahoney. I'm going to give my RAPS presentation today on GPT by OpenAI, or the Generative Pre-trained Transformer. I'm going to go right into it with talking about who is OpenAI, because I think the mission is important to understand in the context of everything involved with the model. So, OpenAI's mission is to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. And to accomplish that, they want to follow three kind of cutting principles. They want to be safe. So they want, if there is general intelligence, they want it to be a safe general intelligence. We don't want a Terminator or Matrix situation going down in the world. Not great for presumably the survival of humanity. Don't want those. They want to be inclusive. So it's kind of in the name open AI. They want to have the models accessible to as many people as possible, and they want the methods to be tradable with people both in the industry and a little bit more casually. And finally, they want to be on the cutting edge because it's not helpful to want AGI to be safe and inclusive if you aren't the one making AGI. So they want to be a part of the names, sitting around the table, just making decisions about this kind of stuff. Previous work they've done, they made the OpenAI Gym, with this is a set of Python libraries that you can use to train machine learning models without having to spend a lot of work creating the environments. So you can focus just on training the model and you don't have to focus about the world surrounding them. And they also made this big big contribution, OpenAI 5, which is a model that learned how to play the MOBA Dota 2, sort of similar to League of Legends, if you're familiar with that. So the five agents have to work together to beat the other team of five, and it became superhuman level, even though it was limited to only having essentially the number of clicks per minute the same as the as a human would. So it didn't have any superhuman ability other than its thinking, which is very impressive. GPT, there's three of these models, 1, 2, and 3, each released at separate dates. GPT-1 was more of a proof of concept. They want to show that you can train a big model and then fine tune it to be better at certain tasks. GPT-2 is kind of the application of this. They trained a huge model, and then it just alone before fine tuning was already state of the art. So they made lots of rounds in the news. And GPT-3 is the latest application of this, and they're really trying to find the limits of what a transformer can do. The architecture of GPT, it's a neural network, as a lot of machine learning algorithms are these days. We have inputs and outputs. It's sort of modeled like the human brain. Specifically, it's a recurrent neural network. So the inputs of the model have partially the outputs of a previous iteration of the model. So you kind of feed forward the previous outputs. And this will allow you to do things like have a little bit of memory. If you want to predict the next word, which is all of what these transformers are really trying to do, you want to know what the previous word was, or even the previous words. So GPT is a mix of a recurrent neural network with a little bit more details in there to make it better and faster. And it's also not special. There are all kinds of transformers out there. Really what sets GPT apart is just its massive size. So GPT-1 had 110 million parameters. Over here on the graph, it looks pretty small compared to where things are today, but it was still very big for the time, even though it was just the proof of concept. GPT-2 was massive, 1.5 billion parameters. It was 2 or 3 times bigger than the previous model below it. And then GPT-3 doesn't even fit on this graph, 175 billion parameters. So each time they're growing by an order of magnitude, and every time in the span of like 2 years, it feels like. And GPT-3 would be way off the chart. Next largest one, 7.5 billion parameters from Microsoft. And the TNLG and it's just a huge difference. The implications of GPT are pretty important. GPT-1, like I said, it's just a proof of concept. Its implication was just proving that you can fine-tune these transformers and it can actually be useful to pre-train them. GPT-2 and the paper Better Language Models and the Implication by OpenAI, they determined it would be too dangerous to release. So they felt that it was too good at the natural language processing that they shouldn't just release it to the public immediately, as they have all of the previous work. They felt that they should hold off so that they could give platforms time to prepare for them. Really, the big things they worry about is they worry they would be able to impersonate others online and automate the production of abusive or fake content on social media. So essentially botting. You would have lots of very smart bots going around, and they would be difficult to tell if they were humans or not. And another thing is they could automate the production of spam or phishing content, which there's already been enough of that on the internet. There's no need to make more. They want email providers and social media platforms to have tools set up to prepare for smarter bots and smarter scams. GPT-3 has slightly different implications. First off, the big thing they found is that there's still room for improvement even at 175 billion parameters. The kind of graph still suggests that there's a increasing the more they train, the better the model gets. So just bigger is better, and adding more parameters which have a better output. And there's some philosophical implications for, like, example, learning how to learn. The GPT-3 learned how to do certain arithmetic, 2 and 3 digit addition, subtraction primarily. These lines up here. And in the paper, they discuss how it's very unlikely that it memorized how to do these, since there's so many problems. 3-digit addition alone is a million things to memorize. So they believe that it likely learned in some capacity how to do math, which when you're talking about a language model, like, it's not impressive for a calculator to do math, but you didn't ask it to do math. It just decided it wanted to learn how to do addition so it could be better at predicting the next word. And now finally, I'm going to talk about my use of GPT. So I am part of a research team, Gina Matthews Accountability and Transparency Group. I am trying to do my best to understand the natural language processing ecosystem so that we can do some research into accountability and transparency in the scene. Learning about transformers is an important part of that. We primarily have used BERT, Google's model BERT in the past, and understanding how that works is important. And another thing, personally, I think it's cool and it's also very accessible. So I made a Discord bot, long distance call to transformer, because it's expensive and it's also slow. But it will allow you to have GPT-2 called from the messaging platform Discord as a bot, and that's pretty fun. And there's some jokes there. If you can't complete the call, it will give you a voice, give you a nice error message. And I'm also working on a project to fine-tune GPT-2, which is what it's meant to do. And I wanted to use it to mock celebrities. So there's certain maybe political figures or celebrities that we have lots of text of them that they've written or spoken, and that would be a funny application for that, I think. I've also given presentations somewhat similar to this, a little bit more divergent. This is more of a meta presentation to quite a few people. So I've given it to the Clarkson Open Source Institute, college kids. I've given it to 2 groups of high school students, some from my home school, another group from Project Challenge, which is a couple weeks of high schoolers coming to Clarkson, and my group was teaching them about computer science, and I give them a talk about this. I've also given it to friends and families, and today I'm giving it to you guys right now, the E-RAPS. When I do that talk, I do a somewhat Turing test style talk. I will have prompts written one from the AI, one from a human, and it has I have the group to try to determine which one was which, and we will vote at the end after they read the articles which one is which. So if you're watching this at home, you can just go ahead and sit down and pause this and read both. And you want to try to think about what one was written by the AI and what one wasn't. The black text, the bolded text is the same for each. One of these was taken from a news article, just kind of straight off it, and I just copied the first paragraph to the send GPT to. So you guys can take a guess on your own time which one it is. I'm going to spoil it, so if you can do it, pause now. 3, 2, 1. All right, I spoiled it. This one on the right, written by the AI. If you give it a read, it's pretty hard to tell. There are some clues that give it away, maybe, but when I give this talk to basically all of the groups, I've had between a 50 and 60% success rate of them guessing correctly, which is a little bit higher um, than random guessing, but not by much. So it's pretty enlightening when people will guess it correctly sometimes and then guess it wrong other times. It's pretty it's a fun time for everyone involved, especially discussing or arguing about which one is which and then seeing the answer at the end. And I'm going to call it there. So that's the end of my RAPS presentation. If you have any questions, you can send them to me at my Clarkson email on the screen. And other than that, I hope everyone has a great day. Bye-bye.